Hi, everyone. I'm Paula Harvey of Tejon Ranch Conservancy, and we're going to start a series of drawing exercises just to help strengthen your drawing skills, which will improve your ability to do good nature journaling. We're going to start with lesson 1. Let's get started. So practice number 1. Let's take a look at what you're going to do. So think of drawing exercises as just warm-ups and drills. You know, if you want to sing, you usually have to warm up. If you want to work on a particular skill, say it's basketball or something, the more you practice at it, the much better you're going to get. And it's that way with drawing as well. If you just pick up your pencil for the first time, you cannot expect to have great drawing skills. But the more you practice, the better you get at it. And the more control you have over the idea that your hand will actually draw what you're actually seeing. So first thing we're going to do is train those fingers of ours to see what our mind is seeing. And that's the most important foundation in any drawing, is to be able to train your fingers to do what you're actually seeing, to actually tell your hand exactly where you're going to put that mark, and it comes out the way you actually want it. The more you practice this, the more you train your fingers to respond to what you see, the better you're going to get at that. And as we practice those drawings, simple shapes, triangles, circles, squares, you're going to learn to fill in those areas with solid or graded tones and make light and bold lines. So not only is it about putting down on paper exactly what you see, but it's also having certain effects that you're able to put onto that drawing in order to improve the way your drawing looks, so that it's translating more accurately what you're seeing. And these are all just skills that any person who wants to draw well, whether it's an artist or a journaler, anybody who wants to draw anything well needs to develop these skills. And so we're going to start by training our body just a little bit to doing these different activities. The first one we're going to do is called elbow arcs. What you do is you put your elbow firmly on the table, and you're going to pivot your hand and your pencil around it to create a nice smooth arc. You aren't moving your shoulder, you're not moving your wrist, you're not moving your fingers, only your elbow. You're holding that pencil in your hand, but you are moving only the elbow. Now, without moving the position, don't move the elbow around at all. It's just arc, just a pivot. You want to return that pencil to the starting point after you've made your first arc. Go back to that starting point and just slightly next to it, draw another one. So that what you're doing is making several different lines, like up here, that are pretty equal apart and have the same kind of arc shape. That's where you're going with elbow arcs. The next kind of arc is a wrist arc. So in this case, you're going to put your arm on the table, and you're going to make shorter arcs just by moving only your wrist. You are not moving your shoulder, you're not moving your elbow, you're not moving your fingers, you're only moving your wrist. And while you're doing that, experiment by going faster or pushing harder or lighter, so that you're also training yourself to put the amount of pressure that you want to on paper to make light lines or bold lines. And practice this until you can create sets of parallel lines with easy fluid strokes. And those would be these right over here. All right, so they're shorter than the first batch of elbow arcs, but again, they're parallel lines. The next ones that you're going to do are finger arcs. Now your entire wrist and arm and your hand is now resting on the paper. And what you're going to do is using your fingers only, you're going to pull your pencil toward you just with your fingers. Don't move your wrist, don't move your elbow, don't move your shoulder, just your fingers. All right, it's easier to pull than it is to push a pencil. And what you're trying to do is make little sets like these of parallel lines. These are a lot straighter. So that's the next thing you're going to practice. Then the last thing you're going to practice are shoulder lines. Shoulder lines are going to be really long, and they're going to be hopefully very smooth. So notice this has a bunch of points to it, and there's several lines here. What you're going to be creating is something very smooth that goes around like this, because all you're going to be moving, your arm, your wrist, your fingers are going to be still, but your shoulder is what's going to be moving. These are going to be long lines, long gestures. Now you want to relax your shoulders, move your arm and your hand as one unit, not as in several different parts. And then draw straight, smooth, curved lines. As you draw, keep your eye on where you want that line to end, not on where it is right now, but where is it going? That's what you're going to keep your eye on, the destination. Try and make those lines as straight as possible, and then create a variety of curved lines as well, only drawing from the shoulder. Now, parallel lines can be a real challenge using the shoulder, so you want to keep parallel lines for the other techniques. In this particular case, your elbow is going to be locked. It's going to be very difficult to do a parallel line this way. So just doing straight lines and curved lines. What I want you to do is take 2 pages of your journal, facing pages. I want you to practice making elbow arcs, wrist arcs, finger arcs, and shoulder lines, all on one paper. And that's the first practice. I hope you enjoy doing that. Keep practicing it, get really good at it. You're going to develop a whole lot more control when you're using the different parts of your body, and you're conscious of which part of your body, your wrist, your finger, your elbow, or your shoulder, you're going to get much more control over your lines. Thanks for joining me. We'll see you next time.